I got so tired of all the mess at the front door, so I grabbed a 1x3 pine board and cut it at 48 inches. These are going to be the rails for my next project. I'm going to go ahead and run the tape measure out, and I'm going to do a marking right at the end at 16 inches, 24 inches, 32 inches, and 40 inches. I need to drill these so I can put some dowels in them for supports, but I'm going to line all 3 boards up so I can get the same markings. Once I got the markings on there, I'm going to measure and mark the middle of the board. Using a drill bit that's 1/4 inches wide, I'm going to drill through them on each one of those lines in the center of the board. Next, I got to build the shelves. I'm going to cut all of these at 11 to 11 1/4 each. Now, my saw doesn't go all the way through, so once I make those cuts, I'm going to flip the board over and then finish cutting each one of these. Then I'm going to line all the shelves up and mark at 5.5 inches, which is the middle of the boards. Again, using my speed square, I'm going to run a line, and then I've got to drill a hole, but I don't want the drill to go too deep. So at the 1 inch mark, I'm going to put a piece of tape. That's going to give me a stopper and tell me when to stop drilling. So I drill down. Right when the tape hits, I pull it back out. And I'm going to do this in the middle of my lines on each of the boards on 3 sides. Once I got the holes marked, it's time to insert the dowels. But I'm not going to use those grooved dowels. I want a smooth piece of wood. It's going to look a lot better. I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on each end of the dowel. Just run that wood glue in there and on that end, and then put it right down inside. It'll slide right inside there. You're going to do this to all the holes and all 3 sides. Now I'm going to go ahead and take that first board on the railing. I'm going to push it through. Once I start getting the shelves on, it actually goes pretty easy. Just look under, line them up, and just using a mallet with light taps, I'm going to push them all through. Now, if they come out too far, you can just sand them down, or you can just use a flat saw like this, cut it down, and use a sandpaper and get it nice and smooth. As you can see, you can't even see it. Next, I want to put a railing on the top with a little bit of the scrap wood I have left. That way I can put some items onto my top shelf. I'm trying to go as nailless and screwless as possible, so I'm using clamps and glue to hold it in place. If I have any excess glue, just wipe it off. Next, because it's pine, I want to pre-stain the boards. This is a simple and inexpensive way to do it, and it makes the staining look really good. I'm going to let it dry for about 40 minutes to an hour, and then I'm going to apply the stain. This one's called Colonial Maple. I think it has a nice shiny color to it, but not too dark. Once I get that stain all on, I'm going to put it all over the shelves and the sides, and you can see the dowel there. I'm going to bring that thing inside and it's time to clean it up. I can put all my shoes on there, including a longer shelf at the bottom for my boots. And here's the top shelf. Remember those sides? Holds it up, and I put a rack on it to hold my backpack. I think this shoe tower turned out great. I hope this inspired you to build your own pine wood shoe tower. I've got a laundry problem. Too much to do and nowhere to store it. So I'm going to head down to my hardware store and I'm going to grab some good lumber. A 1x3 and 1x2s. Make sure you get them pretty straight. On 2 of these 8-foot boards, we're going to mark them right in half, a little bit above the 4-foot mark. Then I'm going to cut them. Now, we're going to set 2 of these legs aside because we're going to work on one side at a time. Take these 2 legs, separate them, and then we're going to start building a box. As you can see, I'm going to use glue. Glue is so strong compared to screws or nails. So what you do is you take good wood glue, you separate it out, put the board on top, and I'm just going to use little brad nails to hold it in place. This is going to allow the glue to dry, and it's going to be super strong. We're going to box this out, and then once we get the 2 sides built, we're going to measure the basket, and it comes out to about 24 inches. As you can see, that's how we have to separate it. Build the top and the bottom, again using the 1x3s. Just use these, and this could be a one-person job if you use a clamp to hold it in place on one side. Now, as you can see, the box is starting to form. If it's a little bit off, don't worry. We'll take care of that when it comes to sanding. We'll go on the other side, again using glue and a little bit of brad nails. Now it's time to build the top. Again, using 1x3s on the top, I'm going to do 5 of these. Again, as you can see, I got glue. Now it's time to build the racks and the sliders that the baskets will go on. I'm going to put some glue down again along the sides as I measure it out for 3 baskets, all equal sizes up and down. This one doesn't use a 1x3, uses a 1x2. We'll put this in place again with glue and using the brad nails to hold it in place. See that little bevel I put on the side? That's so it doesn't catch the basket. Here's the top. You can see the 5 slots that I put in. Now this is the facial board that I'm going to put in. It fits really nice, but we want to hold it in place again. This is where we can put little letterings or signs on. Using the brad nail, hold it in place. Once we do that, it's time to sand. Now, the reason you want to sand is it takes stain and everything better. But I've got a secret. We're not going to use stain on this. I'm going to use something different, but don't be intimidated. We're going to use a torch. That's right. We're going to burn this wood and give it a special look. As you can see here, I'm showing you that it can go too fast and it won't do the job. What you got to do when you're using a torch, don't be nervous, go a little bit slower. See how when we do that, it brings the grain out? It doesn't burn all the wood. It just takes that wood grain and really sets it apart, giving it a very dark look. Now, it looks like it could possibly be burning the wood. That's only temporary. It just gives it a nice shine, and then you can finish it off with some poly. Now, here is the final project. I used my Cricut machine, put a laundry symbol on it, and decorated it up, and it turned out amazing. 3 baskets tall and a little shelf on top to hold things. There's that bevel right there so the baskets don't get caught when I'm putting them on. And look at that. You can barely see any of the nails because we use glue to hold it together. With all the laundry in, it's still super strong. And it slides in and out with ease. It's great for the family, and they absolutely loved it. Laundry time now doesn't have to be a chore. I hope this inspired you to build your own DIY laundry basket rack.
I have an area of my house that has this open desk area, which I wanted to cover up a little bit. I ran to the hardware store and found pieces of 1 by 3 inch, 8-foot long boards. I determined that I wanted the width of my partition wall to be 24 inches total, more or less. I wanted 7-inch shelves in between the different partition areas. I cut 7-inch pieces of wood so that I could use these for my shelves. Those were done, I laid down my 8-foot long pieces and placed my shelving pieces in between them, spaced out the way that I thought would be appealing. Once I had my shelf pieces where I wanted them, I secured these into place using a nail gun. I placed the shelves in different areas because I wanted it to have some visual interest, with symmetry on the right and left sides, but a little bit different in the center. I then measured the top and bottom of my partition wall using the boards right in place so that I knew that I would have the exact measurement. I marked this, cut it, and then secured it again with a nail gun. In under an hour, I created this little structure. I lifted it up and moved it into place inside the house. At this point, you could choose to secure yours if you know you want it there permanently. You can also choose to stain yours, and it would look great in a darker color or even painted in black if it goes with your decor. I placed a few items onto my little shelves, and here's how it turned out. It did a great job of camouflaging the messiness of my desk and just kind of kept that area separate. Thanks for watching Home Talk, and see you next time.